What up, guys? It's O'Donnell from RTSmobile.com. I just want to make a quick beginner's guide on solo attacking castles. I am making this video from a farm account, so please don't hold that against me. But the first thing we're going to go over is your troop types. You have 4 basic troop types: your infantry, cavalry, siege, and your archers. Each one of these types have 2 subdivisions to them, and we'll kind of go over those right quick. Your infantry, for example, you have 2 types. You have pikemen, and you have your shields. I'm sorry. Now, your pikemen, or spearmen as the lower ones are called, they're going to give you increased damage to cavalry, critical hit, and a brutal attack, which is just going to give you a buff to your pikeman's attack. And critical hit also gives you a chance for triple damage. Your shields, they're going to basically reduce all damage from archers and crossbowmen. You also get a huge defense buff and a improved HP buff on your shields. Popping over to cavalry right here. Now you have 2 basic types here. You have your let's see here, your cavalry archers and your knights is what I call them. Your archers, they're going to have charge. Actually, they both have charge, but it gives you a chance to hit ranged troops. Both of them have deadly march, which gives you an increased marching speed. Now, your archers, they have a resource battle buff, so if you're attacking someone that's on a farm tile somewhere on the world map, you'll actually get more of an attack buff by hitting them with your archers as opposed to your knights. It's always a good idea to send them both, but just keep that in mind. Now, your knights, on the other hand, the first 2 talents are the same. The third one, they have a chance to dodge or miss some damage that's coming at them. So that's pretty beneficial. Now your siege, you have 2 real types here. You have your towers, and then you have your trebuchets. And I'll kind of scroll up here to kind of show you. Now your towers, they're going to be your main defensive siege. They give you a bonus if your castle's being attacked. They actually get a defense bonus. Also, if you're collecting resources in the world map, you get a increased troop load from them, so you can carry more resources back as opposed to sending more troops to do the same thing. And then they have a higher HP as well. Now your trebuchets, that's your attackers. They got power attack, accumulated power, and siege attack. Which is basically going to give them range, an attack buff when you're attacking another castle, and you also get a increased attack, but it halves the attack speed. So you kind of want to keep that in mind as well. And guys, if I get a text message on here while I'm doing this, I'm sorry. I've tried to do this video a couple times and my phone keeps blowing up. But anyways, we have archers here. You have 2 different types. You have your regular archers, and then you have your crossbowmen. Now, your typical archer just has a double attack speed and an attack bonus to everything except for infantry. Your crossbowmen, they have heavy attack and improved range. So they're going to be your main attacking archers, or bowmen, I guess you could say. You can kind of look through this yourself and see what each of them have. Now, one thing I want to point out while I'm on this screen is every troop type has an attack and a defense number. Now, if you wanted to go into great detail, you could actually scout someone else's castle, and depending on what level your watchtower is, you could know exactly how many troops of each type they have. You could write it down and then check your details and see exactly what their attack and defense total is. And then you could just send a march to counter that, and you will win every time. Depending on traps, I mean, you want to make sure that you have a way higher attack than they do defense, and a higher defense than they have attack, to completely counter what they have in their castle. But just keep in mind, if you really want to go through that length, you can. As you get experience, you'll kind of be able to just look at it and know what kind of loss you're going to take. So the next thing I want to go over here is castle buffs. I'm not going to go over really anything defensive. I'm doing all attacking on this video. So your attack and your defense bonus, depending if you spend money, you can actually get a higher bonus. These are the ones provided in this screen are just a 20% bonus. So if you use them or if you buy them with the gold that you have, you can actually get these in the world map as well. But you can get a 20% attack bonus and a 20% defense bonus. So that's awesome to have. You also have Anna Scout. Anna Scout, basically, if somebody scouts your castle, it's not going to give them anything back. It's just going to say, hey, this player used Anna Scout, and he cannot be scouted. So that is very beneficial, especially if you have resources or if you just don't want anyone knowing what you have. False Army, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on, but it is kind of a last-ditch effort if you don't have Anna Scout. It'll double the size of your army in their scout report. So if you have 400,000 soldiers, it's going to say that you have 800,000. But your power is not going to go up for that 24 hours. So just keep that in mind. They'll still be able to kind of look at your power and know that you don't have that many troops. Then you have your max march boost. Again, this is one of those things, depending if you buy packs through the game, you can get a higher max march boost, but the one provided immediately is a 25%. So whatever your maximum march size is, you'll actually get a 25% more bonus on top of that. Then you have invisible, which is what it says. It's going to make your castle invisible. It can't be scouted. They can't attack you. But keep in mind they can spend gold and reveal the invisible on your castle and then attack you or scout you or whatever they want to do. The next one I'm going to go over isn't on this list, but to kind of go over the next one I'm going to, I have to describe it. You have a destroy order. Now a destroy order allows you, let's say you're a castle level 13, you can destroy anything below level 13 and basically move it. If you use a destroy order on it, it's going to teleport that castle somewhere randomly on the map, and it'll send them an advanced teleport in the mail so they can go back to wherever they want. Now to prevent that, you have castle reinforcement right here. It works for up to 12 hours. And after you use it, they cannot use a destroy order on you. So that is extremely beneficial if you're, especially if you're reinforcing someone else. And the last one is going to be your Holy Aura, which I went over in my last video. Basically, if you're attacking, it's going to turn 20% of what would have been dead troops into wounded troops for that initial solo battle. So that's an awesome benefit to have as well. Just to go over a few of the buildings right quick. Your drill grounds, you're going to want to make sure that is the same level as your castle. Obviously, the higher your drill ground, the more troops you can march. And it'll break it down here in this little details menu as to what level gives you how many troops you can march and what power the building's going to be. Another one I'll kind of go over right quick is going to be your fortress. This allows you to build traps. Now, when you're scouting castles, if you do go through the length of figuring out, how many, exactly what their attack and defense total is, you also will want to look at what traps they have and how many of each type. They also have an attack to them, so you want to make sure your defense is higher than the trap and your total attack of the other player is, because if not, you're going to take real damage to your troops, and that's something you want to try to avoid if you can. Now, there are a lot of people that spend a lot of time building traps. Some people don't build them at all. They can be beneficial, but early in the game, it doesn't really matter. It's going to raise your power level, but it's not going to be a huge benefit to you, so it's not something I would recommend focusing on this early in the game. I'm going to hit on some science a little bit. I'm not going to go real in depth to it, but when you're attacking, basically your military science, you want to be maxed out. And let's see here. under city defense, first aid is another thing you want to max out. It's going to convert a percentage of what would have been lost troops into wounded, just like the Holy Aura does, except you're doing it through science. So that is a huge benefit to have. There are a lot of things in city defense and city development that I could go over. I'm not going to, because I'm not looking at a defense standpoint right now. So maybe in another video sometime. And then another thing, again, I'll refer to maybe a later video, is your equipment. But you can look at the equipment available based on the Lord level that you are. And it'll also give you a huge statistic buff to your cavalry or your archers or siege. Basically, whatever you want to look into, or you want to raise your stats in, you can based on your equipment. And I'll just give you a quick example here. For a level 15 battle axe, it's going to give me a plus 7.68% increase on my cavalry attack and my siege attack, and then a plus 15 bonus on my trap attack. So, you can kind of decide which one you want to go with. Each level has multiple choices, and there are some items like your shoes and your trousers that don't give you any type of attack buff, but it's more of a defensive equipment. So you want to keep that in mind as well. And let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry, went out of the wrong menu. The last thing I'll go over right quick is your skill points. When you're in combat early in the game, I would recommend your infantry defense and your infantry health points. Max both of those out. The higher your infantry defense and health is, the more they're going to survive, and that's going to be kind of your front men. I mean, they're going to take the brunt of the damage. Another thing is, early in the game, I recommend a cavalry build. So, yeah, I mean, each person has his own opinion on that. Late game for me, I'll go cavalry and archers. But it just depends what your Lord level is and what your personal preference is. And what level your castle is, honestly. There are some people that do a siege build. It's not something I highly recommend. But to each his own. And honestly, guys, that's pretty much all I have. So I'm going to wrap it up real quick. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And as always, happy hunting.